What's up, everybody? My name is Adam McDormand, and this is Medium Quality. Alright everyone, it's time for another quick and dirty vinyl record review. This time we've got the brand new release from Thrice, Palms. As always, I'll put a link in the description section below for the specific Discogs.com release that I'm holding here. And with that being said, let's get to it. Thrice is a hard rock band. Thrice is a alternative. I don't know how to describe this band. Thrice is a hard rock alternative band born out of the punk hardcore tradition of the early 2000s. Actually, to call them hard rock or alternative is far too narrow of a description. This is a band that uses the musical vocabulary of hard rock and alternative and maybe metal to do really interesting things, both melodically and thematically. After Thrice's stellar 2016 release, To Be Everywhere Is to Be Nowhere, I was really excited to hear that the band was back in the studio doing something new, and this is the product. So let's talk essential tracks. The album opens with a song called Only Us, and this is a really strong opening track for the album. It features these really thick, chunky synthesizers a la the Stranger Things soundtrack, and it bounces back and forth between these really moody, atmospheric verses to a surprisingly spacious but still really heavy chorus. And the whole song is built around this message that you'll hear returned to throughout the course of this album: the ideas of unity and human dignity above division. Next up, a song called Just Breathe. Now this song for me is all about the chorus. I love the vocal melody of this chorus. I love the female harmony that kind of soars over the top of it. It does a really good job of being both ethereal and melodic, all while still being kind of heavy throughout the entire song. Awesome track. And then there's Everything Belongs. Now this is the song that closes out side A. It's this really slow building ballad that's anchored by a really beautiful piano melody. The instrumentation is atmospheric, much like the rest of side A, but applies some post-rock-esque trickery to create this swelling, guitar-driven chorus. And of course the song echoes the message of the opening track in a way that really catches in my chest. It's a really powerful and positive message. And then you flip that record over, and side B begins with a song called My Soul. Now this is a very down-tempo song. It's a song where the bass and drums leave a lot of negative space open. And of course that foundation of negative space that's left by the rhythm section of the band gets kind of soared over by these really dirty sounding bluesy guitar leads. It's moody, it's melodic, it's an excellent song and a great way to start side B. Then after that we have a couple of up-tempo songs that at this point are still growing on me. I think they're good, but I'll get back to that later, I'm sure. Blood on Blood. Now this song is clearly influenced by No Knife, which is a really cool kind of post-hardcore band. If you're familiar with No Knife, you know that they do a lot of competing guitar leads that almost don't work but still come together in a really interesting way. And that's what's happening in this song with these really noodly guitar leads that almost don't sound like they fit with the melody but still manage to sound really cohesive. And then something interesting happens at the halfway point of this song, which really opens up into this sparkling bridge with some harp sounds and more post-rock-esque guitar leads. Obviously the way I'm explaining this makes it sound like a hot mess, but actually it's easily one of the best songs on this album and a reason to check this album out. And then the final track on the album, Beyond the Pines. It's another down-tempo kind of balladesque song, and this is one that's really visceral, it's really earthy. Dustin Kensrue lets his voice kind of fall into its lower registers where he sounds really gritty. And that complements this lightly overdriven rhythm guitar sound. The melody is simple, but really strong. It stays out of the way of the vocals, which of course gives the lyrics top billing in this song. And it's this really beautiful image of the afterlife, whatever that may be, which makes it a really strong closing track for what is a really, really good album. So if you're keeping track, that means pretty much every song that I really, really like on this album is either a down-tempo song or a mid-tempo song. And that's not to say that the faster, heavier songs are bad, and I'm sure I'll warm up to those over repeated listens. This album, for me, is still in the early stages of its life. It's an album that's going to stick with me and that I'm going to return to over years. I just happen to think that right now, Thrice is at their most interesting when they're writing strong mid-tempo melodies and atmospheric down-tempo songs. Those are the songs where the music and the lyrical themes are most closely tied to one another. They fuse together in a really emotional and powerful way. Those are the songs that give me chills. Those are the songs that at times have brought me to tears. Those are the ones that I find so memorable. And this is a time where we really need to hear that message. And we actually really need to feel that message as well. This is an album about unity, about human dignity. And it couldn't come at a better time. America is a divided nation in a divided world where people are tumbling into their ideological echo chambers and we don't respect each other anymore. But guess what? Like, we're neighbors in this big global community. And we need each other, and we need to respect each other. A lot of people are saying this album is a little too political. I don't see it that way. I see this as an issue that supersedes politics and should supersede politics because, like I said, we are a global community of human beings and we need each other. Anyways, what you're really wondering about at this point is, what about the vinyl release? This is a quality package from Thrice as usual. I love the large form artwork that you get with a vinyl record release because you can hold it and you can look at it. And if you pay close attention to the album art of Palms, you might notice that it seems to hint at the very themes that those songs present. This idea of multicolored dots, maybe representing people of different varieties that come together around a central idea. That idea might be love and respect, or human dignity. Inside the album is a custom printed inner sleeve that has a hand on one side and of course the lyrics to the songs on the other. It appears to be intentionally minimalistic, highlighting what's really important here, the themes of this album. The pressing itself sounds really good, but the look of it is perhaps a bit underwhelming. You guys know that I love colored vinyl pressings, and this was supposed to be a gray with kind of a white splatter, but the gray is really dark, and my copy of this album seems to be a bit lacking, so it doesn't look all that much different than a plain black pressing. However, if you pre-ordered the album and you got the colored variant, then yours may look a little bit different than mine. You may have a little bit more white splattered in, and I think that would make the album actually look a little bit better. And the pressing itself is high quality, it sounds good, it plays great. I think it's a really solid vinyl master present on this album. So any small issue that I might have with the actual pouring of the vinyl itself in terms of the way it looks is relatively minor compared to the overall package here. The highlights of this album are almost on par with their 2016 release for me, which makes it a necessary listen. Whether you pick it up on vinyl or not, I highly recommend that you go to your streaming service of choice, even YouTube, check out Thrice's Palms. It's a fantastic, heavy album that's full of interesting melodic surprises, well worth your time. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this quick and dirty vinyl record review. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. If you wanna see more, make sure you subscribe. I will put a link in the description section below to where you can get some cool medium quality merch if you like what I'm doing on this channel. And until next time, guys, keep spinning that good stuff. What a time to be alive.